Hello and welcome to our deal video brought to you by our ZPS Elementary Math Department. My name is Doug Harrett and Heather Hiley is co-chairs with me in our ZPS Elementary Math Department. You are either watching this video, whether you know nothing about DEAL, you're trying to figure out how to teach it in your classroom, or you want a little refresher, or you just want to make sure, yeah, I'm on the right track. This is exactly how I'm teaching it in my classroom. Good, awesome. Through this video, I'm going to give you a general overview of what DEAL is, what the posters look like that you need to have in the classroom, and then also a couple of examples here of one addition problem and then one multiplication problem, and how to walk you through how to solve these problems using our DEAL method. When we are doing our DEAL method, our expectation is that all first through fifth grade teachers are teaching our DEAL method to our students when encountering and solving story problems, math word problems in our math expressions curriculum. So it is an expectation that this is being taught. Just to put out there, DEAL is drawing, equation, answer, and label. And so students need to have all of these points in their word problem to be able to solve them. And each point of this is worth 4 points. So every word problem that we encounter and when we assess should be worth 4 points. They should have a drawing, they should have an equation, they should have a label. And then they should have an answer as well. So let's kind of get into it. So the purpose of it is for students to better understand and accurately solve math word story problems when we encounter them in our math expressions book. So we want them to better understand and accurately solve them. So in your classroom, there should be posters in your classroom. They're supposed to be set up. So there's a first grade, the second grade, third through fifth, and then even a fourth and fifth grade poster. So there's 5 different posters. There is not a K poster. We know that K teachers teach about math drawings and talk about equations and solve equations and talk about what the answer means and then what the story is really talking about, what we really want to know in the label. So there's not a poster for K, but we know that they're teaching those aspects within their curriculum with math expressions. So let's dive through this real quick. So there's a little bit of changes here that go from first to second. So first and second look very familiar, but they changed some of the wording here. So like from partners. So partners go to add-ins when you get to second grade. So that word partner is thrown out. Total, it goes to total or sum. Same thing with down here from the comparison addition problems. It goes from partners to add-ins, but they still use the word totals here. But then when you get to third grade addition and subtraction problems, it goes right to sum. And we only use add-ins. We only use add-ins there too. And then when you get to third and fourth and fifth grade for multiplication problems, we use the word product. We use the word factors. We use equal shares, but then that goes away once you get to fourth and fifth grade and you do area model type drawings. The multiplication comparison drawings are basically the same that we go through. So these should be put up in your classroom. So if you don't have these, we have these in a PDF form. You can either email myself or Heather, and we can send these to you for you to print off for your classrooms. So just a little quick summary over what the changes are through them. So it goes from first to second grade, it goes from partner to add-end. And then from vocabulary changes, it goes from total to sum. And when you get to third and fourth grade, that goes from like an area model to it goes from equal shares to an area model. So that's what different little terminology here and there from each grade level. So it's not exactly the same when you go from each one. So I'm going to dive into a couple of examples here for a second. So we do expect DEAL to be taught, but there is one step further of a process that Heather Hiley and a lot of other teachers in our district use when teaching word problems. So we definitely want to let the students know that DEAL is our main focus: drawing, equation, answer, label. But for students to better understand and grasp what a word problem is, we want them to be able to have a process to be able to figure out what the word problem is instead of just putting a drawing down, putting an equation, putting an answer, putting a label. So we want them to read it all the way through first, digest it, and then reread the problem. When we reread the problem, we want to underline, we want to circle, we want to kind of squiggle some things here in here too. So as we're rereading, we want to underline the burning question. And that burning question is typically at the end of a word problem. And so we want students to underline that part because we know the label can be found in that spot. So read, reread, underline, and then circle some of the most important information. So the numbers that go along with the words that we're going to be solving and putting into our equations. We want to circle those things. And even when they don't use, so like some of my third graders encountered today, like they used the word pairs or twins. They didn't have the number 2 in them, but we talked about that. Like, okay, we're going to circle that word twin. I think that twin word is going to be really important in our problem. So they'll circle that. And so we're like, oh, twin means two or pair means two. So we'll even do those types of things. And the last one here, like squiggle, like the squiggling clue words is really cool. So Heather taught me that. So, which is really awesome. With what they'll do is like when you see keywords, like when we do addition and subtraction, like the word sum or total of or together, all together, minus, left, smaller than, fewer than, those types of for addition and subtraction, we will squiggle, underline those. I'll show you how to do that here in a second. And also with multiplication, division, using the word each or per or times or multiply by, divided by, like those types of words we want to squiggle, underline, so we can really like, ooh, I know I'm going to be doing a multiplication or division problem. Like at least you can decipher between the four types of problems. So this is just one step further of a teaching method if you want to use it, so students understand it, a word problem. So let's kind of dive in here. I'll just go through a couple addition. I'll do addition. This is from 2nd grade math expressions workbook. So let me get my pen out here. Awesome. So here we go. So first we read the problem. Teresa has 45 blocks. Then she finds 29 more blocks under the couch. How many blocks does Teresa have now? Let's reread it again and underline some things and circle some things. So Teresa has 45 blocks, then she finds 29 more blocks underneath the couch. How many blocks does Teresa have now? So I'm going to underline the burning question. That tells us what our label is. Usually it's after the words how many. So I'm like, ooh, blocks. I'm going to put that here. Blocks. I already know what the question is asking. It's asking for how many blocks she has now. So I already got my E. I got my 1 point for label. Remember, each word problem is worth 4. So then I'm also going to circle some things up here. 45 blocks, 29 more blocks. Those are words and numbers that we're going to be using in our equations. Awesome. I'm going to do some squiggling. Let's see if there's any keywords. Then she finds 29 more. More would be a squiggle word. Have now, because that means she had some before and then she's getting some more. So there's some kind of keywords that students are like, okay, more and have now. Okay, so they're adding. Awesome. They should be thinking, okay, this is going to be an addition problem because she had 25. She had 45, and then now there's 29 more. Awesome. So I already have my label, which is awesome. So what I would do is then I would start making my equation. So I have 45 plus 29. And then start to solve it. 5 plus 9 is 4. Put the 1 up top in the 10 spot. 1 and 4 is 5. Plus 2 more is 7. So our answer would be 74. Awesome. I can transfer that over to my box over here. I'm not going to do that quite yet because I want to make my drawing here. So when we do addition drawings, we want to make math mountains. So we want to make math mountains here. So making math mountains, I have my 45 and my 29. I know these are my add-ins that we are using over here. So those are the two numbers that we're adding. And then my total is going to be up at top, my missing box. The box is what's missing. So which correlates to over here from what correlates to over here, that box. The boxes match up, which is really nice. So I'm going to put my 74 here because I know that's my answer. And then now I can transfer that over here into my box here, 74. Awesome. So that's a good example here of how you would do an addition example. Let me go on to, let me get rid of my pen. Let me go on to my addition or my multiplication problem here. Let's clear the screen here. Awesome. So multiplication example. So this comes right from the beginning of a 3rd grade story problem here. So the Fuzzy Friends pet store has 3 rabbit cages. There are 5 rabbits in each cage. How many rabbits does the store have in all? Read it once. Let's read it again for that one step further. And then underline, circle, and squiggle. The Fuzzy Friends pet store has 3 rabbit cages. There are 5 rabbit cages in 5 rabbits in each cage. How many rabbits does the store have in all? Ooh, I'm going to squiggle line that in all. I'm also going to underline the burning question. How many rabbits does the store have in all? Ooh, I know that rabbits. How many rabbits? That's what the story's about. So I'm going to put my label here, rabbits. Put rabbits here. Awesome. Okay, got my label. I got 1 point here. So I'm also going to go through and circle rabbit cages. That's my groups. And this is the rabbits in each cage is also, each is also a squiggle word. Each is going to tell us that's going to be multiplication. So students should already be thinking, all right, each, it's multiplication. Good to go. Awesome. So there's 3 rabbit cages. So 3 3 rabbit cages, and then there's going to be 5 in each cage. So this is the multiplication problem. If students know their count bys by now, they should be able to put 3 fingers up and count by 5s, 5, 10, 15. So they should know the answer is 15. If they don't know that, this is where they could do their drawing. The first number is going to be how many larger circles, how many groups there are. And then the second number, which is 5, is going to be how many are in each group. So you put 5 dots in each group. Perfect. And if students still don't know what the answer is by then, they not knowing how to count by 5s or know their count bys, they can count the dots. They can count the dots there. So that's kind of where we're at. So we have our points here. So we have our D for our drawing. We have our L for label. We have our A for answer. And then we have our E here for our equation. So something that I did not hit on, I'm going to kind of go to the next slide here. Something that I did not hit on is that you do not have to do the drawing first. So even though D comes first in our drawing, you do not have to do that first. So students might want to make a drawing so they can better understand and grasp what's going on, but students don't have to do that first. And you don't have to teach to do that first. If that isn't natural to the way that a student is learning, they don't have to. So even though the D.E.A.L says that way. So some key takeaways from our video here. First thing, all first through fifth grade ZPS teachers must use the D.E.A.L method when doing math word story problems. So we really want all of our teachers to be using this. You don't have to use that one step further part that I had. You can modify that however you'd like to, and talk about that however you'd like to in your classroom, but that's just a good extra little tidbit there. Now, thanks, students don't have to make that drawing first. Underline keywords and phrases for better understanding. And then also that grade levels have small little differences in terminology and vocabulary from poster to poster when you go from each different classroom. So they look relatively the same, but there's little small changes in terminology. So that is that. So if you have any questions or comments, or you'd like to know more about it, if you like to email, you can email her, either email Heather or I, and we can kind of help you through this. Just let us know if you have any questions. I hope you enjoyed this, and I hope this was informative and worth your time. Thanks.